Hey Royals, welcome to our team kit of the month. This month I'm using the Nuts and Bolts stamp set that just came out in the new mini catalog. I've created 4 cards using 3 different techniques of how to color or to give color to these cute little robots. Go and hold while I flip and I'll get started. Alright, hope you guys can see everything okay. If you are here live watching, of course I would love comments, and I always love comments if you're watching this on YouTube later as well. This kit is twofold. This was for my Royals team, where they can order this for just $10 for the whole kit, or if you are a customer, then you could order the stamp set during the month of January and get this kit for free. There's only a couple days left in January, so if you are loving these cards and want a free kit, please order this before the end of the month. All right, the stamp set I'm using is called Nuts and Bolts, and I am using every single one of these images today in our card. Kind of show you how to use them and different ways to color in these cute robots. I love this stamp set because usually Valentine's Day cards are a little bit more girly, and I love that these are a little bit more on the little boy vibe. And so I have a 11-year-old son. It's his last year of elementary, and I thought these would be super fun to make for him. All right, let me go ahead and show you our cards, and then we'll get started. So I have this awesome one that shows us how to use the robot as a background image, and we did some blend coloring. It actually looks like watercoloring, and I'll show you how I get that look. Then I have this one right here. It uses our cardstock to color in our paper, and we just fussy cut it in instead. Love that one. This one here is also using the blends, and we've used our paper to create this cool ombre look. Lastly is this one here that has us using our watercolor pencils, and we use that instead of our blends to color in our cute robot here. All right, let me go ahead and get this started. If you have the kit, feel free to pause or push play as you stamp along with me for this one. All right, so the first one we're gonna do is this You Make My Heart Go Beep. This is using a gray granite card base. Let me grab all of our pieces out. And let me grab my bone folder, here we go. So when you get the kit, I usually send them already slightly folded, but you'll need your bone folder to finish the crease. So here's our gray granite. I have a piece of DSP that's part of a Hostess pack only. This is just a perfect Valentine's Day paper though, with the hearts. On the other side, it's just a black and white stripes. This is called Pattern Party DSP, and is for free when you host an online party or you have at least $150 worth of product. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and glue that on to our card base here. I will have all these measurements over on my blog, so if you want to make these cards again and again, you'll have that as a reference. We're gonna just put this in the far left corner of our card base and lining it up as close as we can. All right, then what we need to do is to stamp our cute little robot. However, since we're using watercolor pencils, we want to use our Stays On ink. Stays On is a alcohol-based marker, and it will not run or bleed when you use water or the blending pens. However, it is a little bit different than our other inks. So I like to do a little practice stamp. I'll grab just a Post-it note here to make sure that it's not dry and that it'll work nicely. So I'll try to ink it up here. Looks pretty good. See how it sticks? Oh, see, it comes a little dry. I probably should refill it, but I'm gonna go ahead and just stamp this on. Make sure I get it nice and coated. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and put our cute little robot on the left side of our stitch scalloped rectangle. Oh, he turned out great. Here I was worried. No, he's perfect. All right, let me put this ink away. And what we need to do is to clean this stamp now. Because it's not water-based, we have to use a special cleaner. It's a Stays On remover. And I like to do that right away. I feel like it comes off quicker. And it just has like this sponge applicator on it. I go over it like that. And it kind of makes these puddles. So I'm going to grab my handy dandy reusable wipe and blot that away. We're going to use him again later, so we'll make sure he's good to go. A lot of times I will tap it off and try to get some of that excess liquid. Okay, we'll set him aside and let him dry. And then let me show you, we need to grab our Poppy Parade ink to make our You Make My Heart Go Beep. And then we'll get ready to color that robot. This is the same red in our DSP, and that's why I chose this color. But you probably couldn't go wrong with any shade. Okay, stamp that right there. Perfect. We'll wipe that one clean so I don't forget. And it's just a good habit to always clean right after you stamp. If you forget, you might have to do another project later on and you still have ink on it, and that's never fun. All right, let me grab our watercolor pencils to show you. And this set here does not have a Poppy Parade, so I used the next closest color, which is a real red. And I have this gray here. It's a basic gray. And we're just going to go over this robot here. And because we're going to use our blends, it doesn't matter too much how you color it. It could be really scratchy looking. I like to go really dark in certain spots and lighter in others. So I'll go really light here on his body. Just kind of like scratch coloring. And because he is a robot, he doesn't have to be perfect. I'll go a little bit darker on his jawline and on his little ears and top around his head. All right. This is just usual basic white paper. I highly recommend using our sparkle paper or watercolor paper to help it not get too wet. It's like a thicker cardstock. So I'm just going to be very careful with my blender pen though, as I'm using just regular basic white. And just go over it super lightly. So we'll just go like over it with the tip here and color it in just to smooth out those lines. So it doesn't look like I just scratched it on there or scribbled, I guess. We'll get his jawline here. We'll pull some of that color to fill in that spot and go over his head, his ears, and his little antenna there. Super cute. If you wanted to add more color, you could go back over it again with that watercolor pencil and just darken some of those spots. Maybe I wanted to make his hands a little bit darker. So we'll go over those ones. And then I can use my blend again, just to smooth it out. There we go. When you're done with that color, you take your blend and you just wipe it off on your scrap paper and it will come off clean and ready for the next time. I should have sharpened this one before, but let's see if I can color in my heart still. This is the real red. Let me go ahead and just kind of do circles very softly on this one. If you want it brighter, you totally could. For this one, you could even stamp a heart and then cut that out and put it over it as well. Couple options. All right, let's grab our blender pen and just smooth out those lines. And there we go. Super cute. I also included in these, oops, let me see, grab it, see it? These hexagon black embellishments here for his eyes. I thought they were like the perfect little eye size and that fun like robot shape kind of with those different non-circular edges. Just has the hexagon there. So remove that off. And there you go. Oh, so cute. All right, last let me show you this home and heart. I think doilies is what this one was. What it is, I just cut it in half and we're going to attach that to the back of our stitch rectangle. I recommend a double-sided adhesive and just do like a little bit on the top there. Then you're going to flip it over and we're going to attach it. You want to be able to see where you're going when you're attaching it so that's lined up right. Just about there. I only want a couple of those to peek up through. Next, we'll go ahead and add dimensionals to the back. One in each corner. We'll put one center-like, and then remove the backings. This would be a great and easy one to make with your kids and let them color it. They can color this robot any way they want, especially have it match this awesome DSP here. And we just embellish it ever so slightly. Put it on the center there, and there we go. Two super cute You Make My Heart Go Beep cards with our little watercolored penciled robot. All right, let me go and set these aside and we show you the next one. Let's do this guy here. He's so cute. This says HB to you, which means happy birthday to you in robot. No, that's very common to see, the HB, so I thought that was super clever. So this one doesn't have to be just Valentine's Day cards. This definitely has a couple different options, and I love that one. So for this cute guy, we need our balmy blue card base. When I make kits like this, I try to always have a different card base so you can tell which one's which. All right, let's grab these pieces out for this one. Grab our bone folder again. Help that score line be nice and crisp. And let's grab our pieces. I typically like to stamp first, and then we will do all of our assembling. So this one we can just grab our good old Memento ink, which is our water-based ink, and just easier to clean off our stamps. It's one less step. So we have that there, and let's grab our little robot with the claws. Like, I don't know how to describe him. Looks like he's walking and looking in a fun direction. So we'll ink him up, make sure he's good to go, and set him on the top part of our basic white here. You want to keep this lower layer free or clear, because that's what we're going to cover up anyway, just a little bit. All right, next we'll grab our hearts, and you want to stamp at least 2 of these onto that little scrap of basic white. Oh, that one went a little bit lighter. I didn't press hard enough. We'll do that one again. There we go. All right, we'll put this ink away and grab out our blends. For this one, I'm just doing a very easy blend look to it using our light Night of Navy. And I'm going to grab my brush tip here. I'm just going to color everything but his eyes, pretty much. So this one's a very simple colored. Now, if you're nervous about how big the brush is, you can do the other side, which is more of a little nub or just a smaller working surface. Because this is an alcohol-based marker, it does run a little bit after you color with it. So you just want to make sure that you give yourself enough space to work with. All right, there, and his cute little claw over here. After we've colored it once, you can go over and pick a side that you want and go over the same color and just make it a little bit darker. So I picked this little corner here to give him just a little extra look. All right, let me put this one away, and let me grab my light balmy blue, and we'll color in these hearts here. For this one, we could even use that little tip side, because it's just little coloring. And we'll color this one, and then we need to fussy cut these hearts out. Okay. I always recommend coloring before you fussy cut because it's just an easier surface to work on when it's larger like this. We'll cut it down so it's easier to cut, and use your paper snips to work around it. It's okay if you have a white outline on it. That makes it look just fine. If you like a closer cut, just cut it along the black edge. It's just a matter of preference there. There's one heart. I'll grab these other two. When I do cut, I like to use this inner part of my paper snips instead of the tip. And I try to move the paper more than I actually move the scissors. 2 hearts and our itty bitty heart. Just be careful after these are cut that you don't lose them. They are super small. So the paper that I have here, I have it measured out to be 1 5/8 by 3 3/4, and just in 3 different panels of the colors of blue. You could do the same idea with other colors. So if you want to pick 4 shades of green, I have my balmy blue is our starting. Then I want my darkest on the bottom, which is my knighted navy. And I have my Pacific Point, and then my pool party on the top. I'm going to kind of just line them up, but not completely. And so that way I know where they need to be. And then we'll glue them down. Let me flip this one over and start the gluing. So this would be really great with the greens or even our pinks that we have, different shades of yellow. It even looks really awesome if you emboss these little panels instead. I just think it's a really cool look. And it makes it so you don't have to use the designer series paper, but just the cardstock that you have in your home. All right, flip this guy over. Let's add some dimensionals. Again, we'll want at least, let's see, 5, 1 in each corner, and 1 in the center. Flip it over and attach. Right about there. Grab our piece that I have embossed already. Let me show you. So here's our happy birthday to you. And what we're going to do is just add some dimensionals. For that one, that is a white embossing powder with Versamark and our heat tool to have that look, which I just love. Kind of looks like a chalkboard look when it's that black and white. Put that on the bottom of our robot there with those dimensionals, and we're almost done. We just need to add our hearts and our holiday rhinestones. There, we'll put 1 heart here. You could leave the hearts off if you didn't want it to be so Valentine's-y or lovey. It's up to you. I liked them, and I thought this would even be a cute card to give to like your grandkid if you have a grandson or a cute little boy that you love. All right, let me find my rhinestones, my holiday rhinestones. I knew I had them somewhere. 1 second. Here we go. Okay. So I usually like to have a larger one, but I'm all out of large. So we're going to just use the smaller ones for the whole thing. We'll put 1 here and 2 above here. If I wanted to, I could probably get away with changing up the colors. So let me grab this large one here and switch it out. Ooh, there we go. So I have 2 different shades of blue now, and I'll see if I can't stick this one back on to it so we can use it for a later time. All right, should I switch out that bottom one too? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's take away that guy, and we'll give another just a little bit bigger size there. Cute, love it. Okay, and there you have our little happy birthday to you robot with those fun blue panels. Great card there, and pretty easy to make as well. Very simple blending. All right, let's go on to our next one, which also uses blends, but in a different way. So for this one, we're going to create a background, and we're using the Bermuda Bay card base. Let me grab that out. And then I have the Coastal Cabana is our piece of paper here for that color. I have a couple strips of paper, and then I have a too large piece, but that's okay, a piece of basic white. We'll use that one to stamp our cute little robot on. You probably only need about a 3 by 3 inch for this robot, but whatever you have is fine. All right, let's grab our memento first, and we're gonna stamp this flower one. This cute little guy is holding a flower. Oh, you know what? I actually already have this one ready to go. Let me set him aside then, and we'll put this away. I didn't want to spend too much time fussy cutting for your video, so I went ahead and prepped him already and have him fussy cut out. Now all we have to do is color him. So let me set him aside, and let me go ahead and grab this one from earlier with a little heart robot, and let's grab our Bermuda Bay. It's going to be our color here. All right, open it up, and we're going to ink this guy and stamp him all over, just random. Have him stamp off so he's not completely on. You usually want to work in triangle shapes. So you have some feet we can put right there. We'll put a little side of him, we'll tilt him so it's at a different angle. Looks like he's like popping through. Turn this way. I love that this one has like a little head right there. So let me see if I can't get just like a tiny head. Cute. And we'll add a little bit of a corner there. Super random, no rhyme or reason, just stamp a background. And we're just using that same color as our card base so that it pops up a little bit more. All right, ooh, while we have that out, let me go ahead and stamp 2 more things. Okay, our Bermuda Bay ink, grab our piece of paper and your stamp that says greetings kind human. And we're gonna ink that up on this little strip here and stamp it. Mine's a little bendy, so I'm trying not to let it bend. Oh, see, my human got a little messed up, so I'll do it. And my greetings. I think my paper's just too bendy. That looks better. Oops, sorry, a little pretty loud. And let me grab and wipe this one clean. Stamp off the excess liquid. And grab our next color. I might switch up and just do kind for this one and do it with a Mango Melody is the next color I'm using. So if that turns out better, that will be my plan. Ink this one up, stamp. Yep, we're gonna switch it. My kind is nicer in my Bermuda Bay, so I'm gonna cut out those pieces there. So I'm using my human, my greetings, and my kind from over here. And this gives us that cool two-tone of ink look in a fairly easy way. If you had Stampin' Write markers, you could have just colored onto the stamp itself. But if you don't have markers like that handy, this is a great way to go. All right, and if you want, you can cut this down. I like it to be a little bit closer to the letters. So I'm going to just trim off the top and the bottom, like so. Not too bad. And we'll grab the human, top and the bottom. There we go. Push our trash aside. And now we just need to color this cute guy here. All right, let me grab our blends. So, because of the colors on it, you can totally pick whatever you want this robot to be. I'm using the Bermuda Bay, Mango Melody, Granny Apple Green, and a little bit of, I think this is our Mint Macaroon, the light shade of it. I'm going to start with this guy, and I'm going to color, not all over, but let's go to his face first. And I'm using the brush end for the coloring here. And you can see that it's harder for me to keep this down. So that's why I usually don't fussy cut until I am done coloring. But we'll work with it. Okay, the secret for this is that we don't want to color all of it in. We want it to appear like it is watercolored. And so I'm going to leave intentionally some white spots. Color in this guy here, also this little rectangle here on the bottom, and on his little arms, color that part in, and a little bit on his shoe, just a tiny bit, and probably his legs. There we go. Okay, that should be all of that color for the most part. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my Bermuda Bay, and we're gonna color his little shoes, just the very tip of it. I'm gonna overlap just that little part that we already did color so that they meet together. Then I'm gonna go over the edge here and we're gonna color in where these little circles are. If you need to switch it over to the other brush side instead, that might be easier. There we go. There we go. Okay, awesome. Next, let's go ahead and grab, ooh, it looks like I did miss a spot on this one. I want to do this one a little bit with that light mint macaroon too. So we'll put some up here, and then let's grab that granny apple green, and we'll go underneath on that one, just like that. Again, leave some white spots. I'll show you in a second when it gets closer how and why I say that. All right, for this one, we're gonna go with the dark. Let's do our dark mango melody. I'm going to color this rectangle here. There you go. And we'll color our little flower. And our little hands here. I'm going to switch over to the other side real quick because I feel like it's easier to use it on these smaller spots. There we go. And I want to be able to do that for his ears and head. There we go. For this part here, if you want to go over it again with a little bit of that a light mango, you could totally add a little bit of more color here just to give two different shades. Let me pull them up close so you can see them. Oh, super cute. See how we left some of these white spots here to create more of a unfinished watercoloring edge, and that was completely intentional. So watercoloring is amazing, but it is a little bit trickier. So if you can make it look like it's a watercolor without watercoloring, I totally recommend it. Put some liquid glue on the back of our background piece we stamped and flip it over to our card base. Line it up so there's border on all four sides. And we're going to flip this guy over and add some dimensionals. For this one, we want dimensionals on our little flower, on his head, and two sides of his body. Remove the backings and put them on our card here. These ones, if they're too skinny, you might need to use the dimensionals that are on the outline here. So you can grab your paper snips and these are basically like half dimensionals here. And you just cut it where it comes down at a point, and we'll put that on the back of our words here. There you go. So our kind. And you're just going to angle them. So that one's going up, this one's going to go more down, and maybe be a little higher up. Well, let's see. However you want to place them. Okay, There we go. Two of the cute watercolored looked robots, using also the background to create that awesome robot look. All right, we have one more and then we'll be done. This guy here says, I'm nuts and bolts about you. This one's fun because we use our awesome fussy cutting skills. Look at that. Dimensional backings, always find their way. I've actually found one of those in my bed the other night. They follow me everywhere. They love to be with people. All right, let me grab our thick basic white card base that we have here. Grab your bone folder, get that crease nice, and flip it over. Again, I'm using that same DSP that we used earlier. It's that Pattern Party Hostess paper, and I have it just a couple different measurements, again, over my blog. I've added the Granny Apple Green strip here that will glue on, and we have our basic white rectangle to attach things. However, let's go ahead and do our stamping first. We need to stamp two robots, and you can pick any robots that you want. I thought the heart one was cute, and be cute little grabby guy. I don't know what else to call him besides grabby. Probably not the nicest name, huh? Oh, all right. Let's ink this one up. This is on gray granite. Stamp it. And then we'll ink up Hansy. I don't know. What would you call this robot? Oh, he's so cute though. We'll put him over here. And we'll fussy cut him out. We also need to grab, I have this piece here that you can, I've added this on any of the ones that we've done so far, but we're gonna go ahead and add this also to our bottom here. What I'm gonna do is grab our Granny Apple Green and the saying, I'm nuts and bolts about you. Let me put my basic black, my Memento black away, and let's grab our saying. So I'm nuts and bolts about you. We'll put that right here about on the top, middle, slightly slanted. Then you grab our little squiggle line, which is going to look like a stepping point, which this could be either in that Memento ink or it could be in this green, just depending on which you like. That kind of gives us like a landing mark for our robots. And that would have been great in this card. We could have put it underneath him. We could have put it underneath this little guy here as he's walking. So it looks like he's just not floating. Or even this one. You could have put it underneath him as he's just standing there holding his heart in his hands. Or your heart. I don't know whose heart that is. All right, put that ink away. And let's go ahead and do some fussy cutting. And then we'll assemble. Okay. Some kids love to use scissors. My son does. It's a fun little thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, the less perfect this robot looks, the more robot he looks. Does that make sense? And if you want, you can keep that piece there or cut it out. It's totally a preference. I'm going to go ahead and just use my paper snips and work around it and trim that off. Again, I'm moving my paper when I need to turn. It's my paper that's turning. My scissors are staying in that same direction. Work your way around. I like to cut off the excess if it's hard for me to move smoothly with my scissors. So feel free to make that full cut too. Around his little antenna. That one I'm not going to go super close in, just because I don't want to rip it. But totally a preference. And he's ready. Super cute. All right, this guy in the basic gray, let's go ahead and cut him out. There's no rhyme or reason where you start to cut. It's totally up to you. I usually just start on the bottom and work my way around. This is a great way if you don't have ways to color. There's just lots of paper to stamp on paper to provide color for it. And of course, this would look great even in that Granny Apple Green. Would have been a cute little robot. I'm just using a more like traditional metal looking robot look here with these colors. Again, fussy cutting doesn't have to be perfect on these, and they could be so imperfect that your kids could do it and help you make these ones. All right, there are some secrets of how to make this one. First, let's go ahead and add the dimensionals on the back so we don't forget, and we'll add these guys at the very end. Okay, so for this one, let's pull in our card base, and we're going to actually glue on this DSP piece first. We'll flip it over, add your liquid glue, and flip it back. I have it more left than centered on this one, and then we're going to go ahead and attach this piece of DSP over that. Again, liquid glue. This is, I think, a 4 1/4 by 2. You can make it more narrow if you prefer it not to be as thick, though. There we go. We place that one over there. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for our granny apple strip here. Try to get it mostly center if you want on this one. Actually, I'm going to move it over just a little bit so it's not going to be center. Let's see how that turns out. Then we're going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of our little basic white here. One in each corner, one in the center, and remove the backs. Then we're going to line it up over that first piece of DSP to create that to be the matte look here. So I'm going to hover it over so it's like it has a border on all sides of it. Perfect. And now we can add our cute little robots. Put him on his little walking spot here. And put this one so he's standing right there. I'm going to be careful not to cover up our words as much though. Oh, so cute. All we have to do is add the embellishment, which for this one, I'm using the blue adhesive back gems. When I do these kits, I love to throw in lots of different types of embellishments just so you can kind of sample them and figure out, oh, I like that one, or I'm not a huge fan of that one. It's just a great way to figure out without having to get the whole pack of embellishments. So I'm doing my 3 rule. I'm putting some up here and one up there. Oh, so, so cute. Love, love the way that turned out. Let me go ahead and get all of them back in view so you can see them. Kind of clean up our mess here. So we have the I'm Nuts About You. Then we have our Happy Birthday to You using the blue robot. We have our Greetings Kind Human, where we've used our blends for that one. And then our very first one we made was a water pencil one, and some DSP and that awesome doily. I hope you guys have had fun learning how to make these cards, and be sure to check my blog again for all the measurements and list of supplies that I use in the video today. Have a great week and month, and happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.